Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Dan Dawson Show, brought to you by executive producer Zoe. So I know I'm a little behind, I'm about 3 stories behind. I'm going to try to remedy that this morning. So I have 3 stories coming up, 3 different topics. Here is the very first one. It's the Michigan school shooting. And there's some details that are actually left out in this article that I wanted to tell you about. So Michigan school shooting. School chief says discipline not needed for boy before shooting. You see clearly it's from the Associated Press. Oxford Township, Michigan. A teenager accused of killing 4 students at a Michigan high school was called to the office before the shooting, but no discipline was warranted, the superintendent said Thursday in his first extended remarks since the tragedy. Now, here's the thing, right? From my understanding, and I could be wrong, so hey, I always tell them, my subscribers, fact check me anytime you please. Sorry about that, stupid pop-up ads. Fact check me anytime you please, but apparently a lot of students had called out of school didn't go because just the day before he was posting stuff on social media saying how he was going to shoot up the school. So a lot of people didn't go. But let's read on and see what happened here. Tim Throne, leader of Oxford Community Schools, said Oxford High School looks like a war zone and won't be ready for weeks, but he repeatedly credited students and staff for how they responded to the violence Tuesday. Part of the problem is, yeah, he may be crediting students and staff, but if you had a chance to prevent this and you didn't, I thought it was standard practice that when something like that happened on social media, that student was automatically suspended and the cops were automatically called. But I think what we have here is another case of school boards, school officials trying to take the law into their own hands. And it's nice that you care for your students and everything, but really, now students are dead. It's when I read his statements to you, it's like he doesn't even register that. And this kind of actually reminds me of the one that took place in Loudoun County, where the 14-year-old girl was raped in a girl's bathroom, because they were trying to pass this thing where transgender boys could use the girl's bathroom. It's a bad idea. And if you notice, the cops weren't involved. They tried to take matters into their own hand and just move the boy. You're not police officers, you're teachers. Act like it. They're right, Zoe. To say that I am still in shock and numb is probably an understatement. These events that have occurred will not define us. Throne, grim-faced, and speaking slowly, said in a 12-minute video. Ethan Crumbly, 15, has been charged as an adult with 24 crimes, including murder, attempted murder, and terrorism, for the shooting at the Oakland County School, roughly 30 miles north of Detroit. I want you to know there's been a lot of talk about the student who was apprehended, that he was called up to the office and all kind of stuff. No discipline was warranted. Throne said, there are no discipline records at the high school. Yes, the student did have contact with our front office, and yes, his parents were on campus November 30th. So my confusion on this statement, right? And if you could straighten it out for me in the comments, I would appreciate it. Are they talking about there are no school records, or that high school doesn't keep discipline records? See what I'm saying? Because when you make threats of shooting up your school on social media, your parents get called in, you get called in for a meeting. Shouldn't that be marked in their disciplinary charge? That's why I'm kind of thinking they're saying the school doesn't keep discipline records. It's really kind of, it's horrible. Throne said he couldn't immediately release additional details. Sheriff Mike Ducard has said Crumbly's classroom behavior was a concern on the day of the shooting. In his remarks, the superintendent said he was asking the sheriff's office to publicly release school video from Tuesday. I want you to be as proud of your sons and daughters as I am, Throne said. This guy doesn't get it. He does not get it. You want to release video of that shooting, and there are parents warning their kids right now and you want to release video. You're not getting it. Hopefully these parents sue the hell out the school district. The only problem with suing the hell out the school district is that I hope they sue him directly. Whatever teacher knew, whatever teacher was in that meeting, whatever principal superintendent was in that meeting that decided to let that boy go to class when the day before he's putting up videos threatening to shoot up his classroom. Quote, the parents were the only individuals in the position to know the access to weapons. End quote, Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald said, the gun, quote, seems to have been just freely available to that individual, end quote. So note what she's going to try to do throughout this, right? She's going to try to shift blame away from the superintendent and the school. That's what she does throughout all of her quotes and shifts it back on the parents. Now I'll say this, those guns should have been locked up, but a lot of us start hunting earlier than 15. So we have access to firearms. I've done classes. I know people who want their 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds to learn to shoot. You know, in case somebody breaks in the house when they're not there, because now both parents have to work full-time jobs because the economy sucks. 4 students were killed, 7 more people were injured. 3 were in hospitals in stable condition. The semi-automatic gun was purchased legally by Crumbley's father last week, according to investigators. Parents in the U.S. are rarely charged in school shootings involving their children, even as most minors get guns from a parent or relative's house, according to experts. There's no Michigan law that requires gun owners keep weapons locked away from children. McDonald, however, suggested there's more to build a case on. So I want you to listen very closely to what she's doing, this prosecutor. She's shifting blame away from the principal. But the principal knew beforehand this was out there. Shouldn't he be criminally charged? You're basically an accessory to murder. Why didn't he suspend that kid on the spot? Quote, all I can say at this point, in those actions on mom and dad's behalf go far beyond negligence, she told WJRAM, we obviously are prosecuting the shooter to the fullest extent. There are individuals who should be held accountable, end quote. Later at a news conference, McDonald said she hoped to have an announcement in the next 24 hours. She had firmly signaled that Crumbley's parents were under scrutiny when she filed charges against their son Wednesday. Jennifer and James Crumbley did not return the message left by the Associated Press. The sheriff disclosed Wednesday that the parents met with school officials about their son's classroom behavior just a few hours before the shooting. Listen very closely to what I'm about to say. Crumbley stayed in school Tuesday and later emerged from a bathroom with a gun, firing at students in the hallway, police said. Should there have been different decisions made? McDonald said when asked about keeping the teen in school, probably they will come to that conclusion. This is the prosecutor. I have not seen anything that would make me think that there's criminal culpability. It's a terrible, terrible tragedy. Let's go back up here. Quote, all I can say at this point is those actions on mom and dad's behalf go far beyond negligence. We obviously are prosecuting the shooter to the fullest extent. There are other individuals who should be held accountable. Same person. Quote, should there have been different decisions made? McDonald said when asked about keeping the teen in school, probably they will come to that conclusion. I have not seen anything that would make me think that there's criminal culpability. It's a terrible, terrible tragedy. So these school officials knew what could happen, and they wouldn't take the time to protect their other students. And now you have a prosecutor sticking up for them. Should that gun have been locked away? Yes, please. Lock your guns away. But I read you the story of the father and his daughter protecting rioters in Kenosha. She was 16, had an AR-15. She had been shooting since she was 8. I mean, come on. Now, if you're a school official, you have that video, you've seen that video, your students are concerned, they're calling out, and you still let it happen, you are criminally liable. I'm sorry. You had fair warning That prosecutor needs to be removed immediately. Williams Ford, defense lawyer who is not involved in the case, said charging the parents required very intensive investigation. What did they know and when did they know it, Swore said. What advanced information did they have about all these things? Did they know anything about his attitude? Things of that nature. You're talking about a very heavy burden to bring on parents. Here's the part that gets me. I'm gonna skip down a little bit. Quote, our laws haven't really adapted to the reality of school shootings, and the closest we have are these child access prevention laws, said Chris Brown, president of the Brady Gun Control Advocacy Group. There you go, more gun control. Blame the gun. Why not blame this principal who knew? He knew. If my child had been killed in this, I don't want to hear shit you got to say. You play a video, we got real issues. I'm suing you to high heaven. I'm suing you, I'm suing the school board, I'll sue you personally, I'll sue the school district, I'll sue the fucking state. They go on some other stories that don't really have anything to do with anything. So, as you can see there, another issue of coddling kids. That's exactly what this was, coddling kids. No, you made these threats on social media. No, you're out of here, and we're gonna have the police come talk to you. That's what we're gonna do. So thank you for watching this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, in these days and times, do what you gotta do. Producer Zoe says bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Zoe. Bye-bye.